Avatar: The Last Airbender is one of the greatest animated series ever made. It's a fantastic adventure show that you can rewatch over and over and over.
But it's also a show created with a lot of love and care, so you'll find something new every time you watch it.
We're big fans who didn't need a lot of prodding to rant about stuff we love in this show, so here's a whole cabbage cart's worth of reasons you should jump into Avatar: The Last Airbender.
We'll get into the wonderful world building, character arcs, and complex themes, but first and foremost, this show isn't afraid of a good mouth harp gag.
It's such a clever twist that your entry character into the world isn't the everyman. Instead, it's Katara, desperate to learn about bending, which we also need to know about, and the Avatar being reintroduced into a world he doesn't even recognize.
Even the so-called throwaway episodes build the story, like Boomy hoping Aang will think outside the box with Fire Lord Ozai, which he eventually does. The series never misses the forest for the trees, and it makes sure the seeds are just important as the forest.
Momo is adorable, and also probably, a murderous psychopath, and we'll never know.
Every character gets an arc, even if it's small, from Zuko's tale of redemption all the way down to Haru's attempt at a mustache.
The show isn't afraid to tell us that the world isn't perfect. It's not just an evil fire nation. People anywhere can suck, but it's still all worth fighting for.
One time, Iroh fought off a bunch of earthbenders while he was handcuffed and naked. And that's just awesome.
I love George Takei's weird evil jailer having a bison argument.
Which was it, a buffalo or a bison?
Unlike Game of Thrones, this show did not forget about its impending Doom comet plot.
I love the little touches, like the show taking a moment to set up Katara's water skin.
Handsome boyfriend jet.
If your show is going to explore difficult ideas like morality and war, be smart enough to do it via Spencer, how did that go?
Handsome boyfriend jet.
But I also love that they weren't afraid to be cartoony with some of the butter battle book type stories, like a tidy tribe and a messy tribe.
I appreciate that Aang takes an Avatar gamble here, that these people no longer remember why they're fighting because it's not actually important. So he lies to them about what actually happened. If it had mattered, they would have called him on it. Problem solved, and everyone moves forward.
Throughout the series, we see this poor kid struggling to deal with the immense pressure of being the chosen one. It's not cool or fun. Okay, a lot of the time it's fun. Savior stuff is super hard, but Aang keeps moving forward.
I love that the first time we meet Zuko's sister is in the flashback about his father scarring him. This is the perfect 101 on Azula.
I love the connection between Zuko and Aang and how heartbreaking and challenging their path to friendship is. The show really earns it.
The Blue Spirit! Zuko is so scared of doing the right thing and being his true self, he has to wear a mask.
Interesting, too, that his mask symbol of strength is blue, like his sister's fire.
Also very interesting, this bucket counter is cool as hell. More bucket fights, please.
More shows need to feature this crazy old herbalist. I want Kendall in Succession to have to deal with her.
Cat!
I love that bending isn't the end-all be-all. The Kyoshi warriors, the archers in the Blue Flame app, even Sokka, eventually all incredibly powerful without the elements.
There's so much thought put into the side characters. They're rarely just tropes or just functional. There's always something a little extra. Like, this guy is proud and loyal to follow Zhang, but he's also just a little bit off.
He's the first person ever to leave the army and live. I'm the second, but you don't get to be a legend for that.
It makes the world so much richer.
Zhang's angle that firebending is a burden bordering on a curse is a great insight into how the war started. With great power comes, you get it, but it's no wonder that the Fire Nation broke bad is the point. Their leadership took a shortcut and didn't care about discipline, like he says.
I love that you can see the sparks that would become Korra's Republic City in the Northern Air Temple.
The characters are all given time to develop and grow, like Sokka taking his Water Tribe trials, discovering he has a knack for invention and strategy, eventually growing more humble and committing to swordcraft.
I love the ice engineering of the Northern Water Tribe. That's all, just, man, that is so cool. In the slang way and the pun way.
The show really mastered the balance between fun adventure episodes and driving the overarching plot forward.
This show can go from the horrible quiet before battle to a B-story about a prep douche boyfriend completely flawlessly.
I think of you as my own.
I can't deal with Iroh feeling down emotions about Zuko, and neither can you.
This small tease of the underground library way back in book 1, I see you.
You guys remember that time Aang got really spiritually angry and turned into a big ol' Miyazaki aqua kaiju spirit? Me too.
Look at this Empire Strikes Back shot. I see you, and I like you.
Secret tunnel.
The hippies are really funny characters, but they also help put Sokka on the path of being a master strategist. By book 3, he's learned their advice of not always letting plans get in the way of the journey. Even the jokes matter in this show.
Just a moment of appreciation, if I may, for Azula's crew, Ninja Daria, and Murder Carney.
Again, remember that so-called placeholder ep about meeting King Boomy? Not so placeholdy. It introduced the delivery ramp mechanics of Omashu for this cool showdown with Azula.
Do y'all ever catch the same episode of a show over and over again when it's on until you finally give in and watch the show? This episode's mine. Thanks, Swamp Episode.
Hey, this enlightened swamp man sounds familiar.
I reached enlightenment right here under the Banyan Grove tree.
Allie's dad from Karate Kid, is that you?
Not too late, sweetheart.
That is you, isn't it? Let Daniel date your daughter, you snob.
This Fire Nation raiding party is awesome. The rough rhinos are what the Knights of Ren look like in my head.
Psst, psst. Hey, you kids like earthbending? You like throwing rocks?
I say this at least once a day now.
I don't need a new bag. Why'd you let me buy this?
We're all a little Sokka sometimes.
Look, there's a coupon on the back. The first lesson is free.
Hardcore flashbacks to elementary school karate class here.
I want to go to Earth Rumble 6. So bad.
Listen up, Hippo. You may be big, but you ain't bad. The Boulder's gonna win this in a landslide.
Toph would beat the crap out of Daredevil and Luke Cage. You know what? Most of the Avengers, if we're being honest.
How young was Azula when the rift between her and her mother began? It's just really sad.
Water Tribe.
I also say this at least once a day now. Makes leaving rooms more fun.
Zuko is teaching this young boy the way of the sword without realizing he's just describing himself. The swords are two parts of a whole, and they're the chosen weapon of the blue spirit, a second half of Zuko that he's still struggling to understand. What a layered, angsty teen.
Iroh spending time with a stranger that he doesn't realize is an enemy will pay off. Just another example of how kindness always wins in this world.
Love the Old West vibes of the Earth Kingdom outskirts.
Some classic Scream at the Storm character development right here. Worked for Lieutenant Dan, too.
Wan Shi Tong, he who knows 10,000 things. I know one thing, he looks like my sleep paralysis ghost.
Toph not being able to save Appa because she's trying to save everyone else is heartbreaking.
It's also just great writing. Removing Appa from the equation was a simple and brilliant way to completely change the dynamic of the show.
And it gave us the award-winning Appa's Lost Days.
Even the Earth Kingdom has a Mos Eisley. Look at this hive of scum and villainy.
One of the few times we see the Avatar state triggered by pure rage. Very unsettling.
I see you favor the White Lotus Gambit.
Secret Society stuff! Woo, sign me up.
Airbender could have easily just been fun action and fluff, but it never shies away from the cost of war, like all of these displaced refugees.
Moody boyfriend Zuko and handsome boyfriend Jet team up? This had to fuel Tumblr for at least a year.
So, is Ryan Johnson an Airbender fan?
Earth trains! That's cool.
Judy! She is off-putting and horrifying and such a good warm-up for all the weird shenanigans in Ba Sing Se.
Life happens wherever you are, whether you make it or not.
Once again, wise words from Uncle Iroh.
The Dai Li, the city that is supposedly the last hope for freedom in the world having secret culture police, is scary. And timely! Fun!
Toph, aren't you gonna get ready for the day? I'm ready.
Toph is all of us in 2020.
The Tale of Iroh and Tales of Ba Sing Se deserves an annual Emmy. And I'm crying.
Momo falling asleep in Appa's footprint. I, too, am crying.
Zuko's state in Earth Kingdom is sweet and a little sad. It also foreshadows that he's capable of fire stuff without fueling it with anger.
Ooh, all the secret agency stuff for the Earth Kingdom is under a lake, just like Weapon X, which basically makes this show the Logan of Nicktoons.
I'm begging you, Prince Zuko. It's time for you to look inward and begin asking yourself the big questions. Who are you? And what do you want?
This monologue was what we have all been yelling at Moody boyfriend Zuko since we met him.
Azula infiltrating the Earth Kingdom as a Kyoshi warrior is the perfect way to escalate things in Ba Sing Se. Also makes you desperate to find out what happened to Suki.
The final showdown in Book 2 is the perfect mix of character arcs and threads colliding, and also lightning. Look, I know I'm supposed to hate Azula, but lightning is just rad, you guys.
Azula's hype team is creepy and scary, and also exactly what every evil royal needs. All hail the Footloose episode!
Iroh faking being crazy and getting jail buff is on my vision board.
Venom crossover confirmed.
The Ember Island app gives you a brief moment to empathize with Azula before we're off to the races. It's an honest moment because ultimately her downfall is that she can't handle being an evil supervillain because she is a deeply flawed and broken teenager.
Jan and Ranjan? Yeah, they're the coolest.
Three-Eye Metal Man? Yeah, he's also the coolest.
Roku isn't just around to explain stuff to Aang. He keeps lingering out of guilt that the younger generation has inherited his mess. He's a nice boomer.
Bloodbending is terrifying. Ugh, she's unnerving.
The Day of Black Sun has everything. Sokka taking charge, earthbending tanks, submarines, Zuko confronting his dad, and Suki stalls. It's that thing where Azula drops knowledge that your girlfriend is alive so she can burn out valuable eclipse time.
Hello, Zuko here.
What a dork.
My first girlfriend turned into the moon. That's rough, buddy.
Best two-line scene in the show? Probably.
May turning on Azula with Ty Lee backing her up is just chef kisses.
You should have feared me more.
That young woman that was just casually grasping at humanity on Ember Island, completely gone.
If you're only into the show for the fighty Fire Lord stuff, you're missing out on a ton of classic show.
This is the kind of wacky, time-wasting nonsense I've been missing.
The calm before the storm. The show takes a pause before the finale to make fun of itself via community theater. I wish Game of Thrones had done this. Oh hey, they kinda did.
But they still managed to work in a bunch of character stuff, with everyone's security staring them in the face one more time.
And they still managed to foreshadow the final confrontations, cast doubt into the hearts of the heroes, and continue to plant the seed that a violent end for the Fire Lord isn't the right solution. All of this in 22 cartoony minutes.
Also, this would make Daredevil so much cooler.
There. I got a pretty good look at you.
Can they do an alternate universe spin-off where the Melon Lord is the main bad guy?
As far as regime changes go, the Phoenix King reveal is pretty badass.
All old people know each other. Don't you know that?
I knew it! Old Vengers, assemble!
Here is my wisdom for you. Selfless duty calls you to sacrifice your own spiritual needs.
This is a show aimed at kids. It's why I get annoyed when people tell me to turn off my brain for movies that just don't try.
Cat! Wait, lion turtle. Half cat? Cat. Cat? It's a cat.
Man, this show just knows how to do hugs.
The battle between Azula and Zuko isn't a giant spectacle. It isn't cool or focused on flips and choreography. It's tragic and heartbreaking, and that's what makes it stand out.
Meanwhile, neither is Aang versus the Fire Lord. The final battle in the big fantasy martial arts cartoon is purely utility for the protagonist. And true to Boomie's advice, he thinks outside of the box.
Wait, that's 100 reasons, you guys. But if the show gets to make up extra elements, we can make up extra reasons, right?
Reason bending!
I don't think Boomerang is coming back, Toph. It looks like this is the end.
Kids bravely accepting that this is the end. It'll get you, man. It'll get you.
Do I love the idea that all of these kids spend the rest of their life with their first crush? Not really. Can I just ignore that part like I do with Harry Potter and acknowledge that they've all, earned some weird teen smooching? Yeah.
Man, I love Aang. He's working hard to save the world, but also saves time for his weird animal surfing hobby. Work hard, play hard, perfectly balanced, as all things should be.
I love Sokka. Even as he grows into a man, he doesn't lose his inherent gooberness. Also, he has a sword from space.
I love Katara. Sokka gets the laughs and Toph gets the badass moments, but quiet moments for Katara, like keeping the group together in the desert, make her the show's MVP. Also, when she gives herself Cthulhu tentacles made of water, that's neat.
I love Toph. She's constantly pushing herself to be badass because she knows that she'll always be a helpless little girl to her parents. And while Katara, Sokka, and Zuko get to sort out their dad stuff, Toph's closure is that she realizes she just doesn't have to.
I love Zuko. He's lost and angry and terrified, and the fact that he overcomes that is important for kids to see. Also, he's Rufio.
I love this show. It makes you laugh, it makes you cry, it makes you do Tai Chi in front of your bathroom sink, just in case.
I love this show. It loves and respects its inspirations and source material and never feels like a cynical grift.
I love this show. The writing is truly one of a kind. So good that I only just now realized I only know Toph's last name. Is this a world of single name people? Like Prince and Cher? Somehow that makes it even better.